Dearest Coney, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. Now, Jim McPherson was saying to Coney in the letter, means when next year, when the Christmas will come, then we are going to remember this distant. Distant means far, means when the next Christmas will come, then 1 year gap will be there. So this is called distant, okay, far away. Distant and terrible. Terrible means very horrible, very disturbing. So this war means on this Christmas we are having a war, but when next Christmas will come, there will be no war, but the memory, but the horrible, terrible memory will be there. I know from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace. Now, Jim McPherson was knowing and saying, yes, both from Britishers and German, both want that war should be avoided and there should be peace. We shall be together again soon, I am sure of it. Now, Jim McPherson was saying, I am sure we are going to meet very soon. Your loving Jim, means this is the end of the letter. The letter that was written by Jim McPherson to Coney. Now this is the end of the letter. And after this part, we are having some question that we are going to discuss at the end of the chapter. Now the third part of the chapter started. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. Now again came back to the narrator, means now the present time has come. Now this story was going in flashback. Flashback story means whatever written inside the letter, that was showing to you in the form of story. Now again the present state came. The narrator, the writer who has opened the drawer and take out the letter, now we came back to that, means that the writer read the letter and fold the letter again and put it back in the envelope. I kept awake all night, means he is not going to, he was not able to sleep at that night after reading this letter. By morning, I knew what I had to do. Now he got up next morning and now he knows what he has to do now. I drove into Britport. Drove means driving the car. Okay, so the writer drove the car and reached Britport. Britport is a name of place. Just a few miles away, means where the writer was residing. Britport was a little away, so he drove the car and reached there. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beaches was. Now there was a boy who was just walking around the lane. He was with the dog, and writer asked him, where is Copper Beaches? Copper Beaches is a name of the the address that was written on the letter. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell, the roof gaping. Means he just confirmed the address he want to reach, the address he just want to go on the address that was written on the envelope. Okay, Copper Beaches was the address and house number was 12. So now the writer reached to that address, reached to that house, and now he found out that house was burned out shell. Shell means house and burned out means something that is burnt through the fire. The roof gaping means there was no roof. All the roof was burnt, all the house was burnt with the fire. The windows boarded up. Boarded up means covered with the wooden boards. Means the windows were not open. The windows were covered. Means maybe somebody was not living in that home because of getting burnt with the fire, and the windows were boarded up, means windows was closed up with the wooden planks. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of a Mrs. Macpherson. Now the writer went in the neighborhood, in the nearby houses, and knocked at the door. Anybody is knowing Mrs. Macpherson? Oh yes, said the old man in his slippers. He knew her well. Now one man, he was wearing slippers, means he was just wearing the household clothes. Generally we wear slippers at home, na, that was. So one old man came out from the gate and tell that he knew a lovely old lady, he told me, a bit muddle headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, wasn't she? Means that old man was saying that Mrs. Macpherson is a lovely old lady, means she was old and a big muddle-headed. Muddle-headed is called confused, means that lady was remained a little confused, but at her age means as Mrs. Macpherson was an old lady, and this is happens means in old age, as we going towards old age, we started forgetting something, so it is called muddle-headed. Means as Mrs. Macpherson was an old lady, so she remains a little confused. Wasn't she means in old age it is happened. It is common. 101 years old. Now he is telling the age of that lady, that was 101. She had been in the house when it caught fire. Means when the house was burning in the fire, Mrs. Macpherson was inside the house. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. Nobody knows the exact cause of the fire, ki how the house caught the fire, but everybody was saying ki maybe it can be because of the candles, because the house were made of wood and wood can catch the fire very quickly. She used candles rather than electricity because she was thought electricity was too expensive. Now these are all other things given to Jim Macpherson by an old man. Old man was saying that Mrs. Macpherson was an old lady. She was living in this house and she was not liking to use electricity because she thought electricity is much expensive. That's why for to make light in the house she used candles, and candles can be the reason of catching the fire by the house. The fireman had got her out just in time. Now when the house caught fire, then the fireman came and take Mrs. Macpherson out from the house. She was in a nursing home now, he told me. The old man told to the old man told to writer that now the lady is in a nursing home. Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. Now this is the address of the nursing home. Means the name of the nursing home is Burlington House and that was on the Dorchester Road. Other side of the town means this is the town, you have to go to other side to meet to that lady. Now these are some questions from third part, and third part we are going to discuss later on, and third part is going towards I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. Now the writer reached to this address of nursing home. There were paper chains up in the hallway and a lighted Christmas trees stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on the top. Now this is the time of Christmas festival. So when he reached nursing home, he saw that all the hall of the nursing home was decorated with paper chains. We used to make paper chains, na, like that. And lighted Christmas means there was a beautiful Christmas tree that was kept in one side, in one corner of the hall, and one lopsided angel on the top. Means there is a type of star that shines on the top of the Christmas tree. You must have seen, na, that star. That star is called lopsided angel. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. Now at the reception area he went and said that he want to meet Mrs. Macpherson and he want to give a type of gift to her. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. Now he reached to the dining room where we eat and drink something, and so many other peoples were there. They were wearing paper hats made of hand and they all were singing because Christmas was there. The Martin had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. Now the head of that nursing home was also there and he also was wearing a hat, and when he saw me he became happy. She even offered me, I'm sorry, this Matin was a lady. She even offered me a mince pie. Mince pie is a type of dessert that is served during Christmas. So the head of that nursing home offered, means he said to me ki please come and eat this mince pie. She walked me along the corridor. Now she is carrying me through the corridor. Mrs. McPherson is not in with the others, she told me. Now there were so many persons, but Mrs. McPherson was not there. So the mentor of that nursing home take the writer through the corridor and said कि Mrs. McPherson is not here, but you come to me, I'll take you to her. She is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She was looking a little confused. She was not feeling good between the crowd. So we thought about her. Okay, we should leave her. We should leave her to take some rest. She has no family, no one visits. So I'm sure she will be only too pleased to see you. Mrs. McPherson, nobody comes. She is having no family, so nobody comes to visit him or to meet her. So when now you have come to meet her, so she's going to be very happy when she's going to meet you. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. Now, conservatory is a type of part of the home, of nursing home, where all over open and it is glass covered from all side, means glasses doors, glasses windows, glasses walls, means the light and fresh air can come inside, and all sides so many green plants were kept on the conservatory. And the wicker chair is called the broader chair, on which you can sit as well as you can take rest. Okay, so this is a type of conservatory where she was sitting. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair. Now Mrs. McPherson was in the conservatory and she was sitting in the wheelchair. Wheelchair that you can see in the picture, there is wheels in the chair that is used to be to sit for the older person, for the lamed person who was not who are not able to walk properly, like that. Her hands folded her in lap. Lap is called on her thighs, means she was sitting by folding her hands. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun. Now as she was 101 years old, so she must having the white hair now. So all the white hair was pinned in a bun. Bun is called the type of bun your mama makes na, and whiskey bun is called, means some of the hairs was coming out from the bun. She was gazing out at the garden, means conservatory, as I told you, all the walls, all the doors, all the windows, means conservatory usually is made of glass. Okay, so you can clearly see out. So she was sitting in the conservatory on a wheelchair and looking out to the garden. Hello, I said. Now the writer said to her hello, wished her. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. Vacantly is called emptily. Empty means called when you know nothing, there is nothing inside you. Okay, so when he said hello, then Mrs. McPherson looked at him. Happy Christmas, Coney. I went on. He wished him happy Christmas, Coney. I found this. I think it's yours. Now he is going to give something to that lady, and he said, I think this is your present. I have brought something for you. As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. Means he was speaking and Mrs. McPherson was continuously gazing him, and he is not going to looking anywhere else besides looking his face. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. Now the letter was kept in a tin box, so writer handed over the tin box to McPherson and opened that. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. Now she was looking at the letter as she knows it. Recognition is called when you know something, when you recognize something, when you identify something. Okay, so Mrs. McPherson can recognize that letter. Okay, yes, I know this letter, and her face become suffused. Suffused is called means the smile, the happiness that is spread all over her face. Sudden glow. Sudden means when you are very happy, then a type of glow comes to your face na. So a sudden glow of the happiness means Mrs. McPherson was very happy after getting that gift. I explained about the desk about how I found it. Now the writer told everything about okay, he bought a desk and in that one of the drawer of that desk he found this letter. But I don't think she was listening. But when the writer was just telling all his stories, he was saying, I'm not thinking she was listening to me. She was just lost in the letter. For a while, she said nothing. Means writer was kept talking about the story, but she was not listening and she was not saying something, but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. Now, stroked is called to hold it with very force. Letter tenderly with her fingertips. Now, she was holding the letter and just gazing the letter and not listening to the writer, not saying anything. Suddenly she reached out and took my hand, and after some time, suddenly at once she took my hand, means she hold his hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. Now there were tears in her eyes, in Mrs. Macpherson eyes. You told me you would come home by Christmas. Now she was saying to the writer, to the person, okay, you told me you will come on the Christmas, dearest, she said, and here you are, and see, you fulfilled your promise. You told me you will come on Christmas, and you came. The best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim dear. Sit down. Now, she was thinking that the person who wrote letter to her, Coney, Jim Macpherson. So Mrs. Macpherson was thinking that the man who has come, because she became old and she didn't remember anything, so she was thinking that this person is Jim. Means she was just supposing that person was not Jim Macpherson, but Mrs. Macpherson just supposing that this person was Jim. So she was saying to that man, you promised me you will come on Christmas, and see, you all come. Now come and sit near me. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. Now the writer sit near her and she kissed his cheeks. I read your letter so often, Jim, every day. Now, Mrs. Macpherson was saying to the writer that she read his letter every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. Now, she is talking to the writer as she is talking to Jim Macpherson. Jim Macpherson was not there, but she was thinking that the writer is Jim. So she is saying, okay, I just want to hear, I remember you every day, but I want to hear your voice. It always made me feel you were with me. I always think that you are not going out on a war and you are far away with me. I always think you are just, or every time you are with me. And now you are, and see, now you have come. Now you are back. You can read it to my yourself. Now see, you can see on my face, okay, that how much I remember you. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? Now she was saying something to do, then she is asking, okay, will you do it for me? I just want to hear your voice again. Please speak something and I want to hear you. I would love that so much. Means Mrs. Macpherson just want to listen to the voice of that person, and then perhaps we will have some tea. You just tell something, I want to hear your voice, and then we will go and drink some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all around. Mrs. Macpherson was saying to that person, I know you like the cake with the marzipan, means cake with the cream, and I have made for you. I know how much you love marzipan. Mrs. Macpherson was saying, I know how much marzipan, the cake cream you love, and I have made a Christmas cake for you. We will talk and then we will go drink tea and eat cake. So this was the lesson. The explanation of the lesson has been completed. Now listen to the explanation again and again. Try to explain the chapter yourself. Keep your finger under the line as I am pronouncing, because I am explaining you the line very slowly so that you will be able to understand. There will be no questions. Okay. Now all the remaining exercises, hard words and all the question answers we are going to do later on. Okay. Have a nice day.